Uh, Hello, everyone. It's Alamgir Hossain, Deputy Coordinator, Monitoring, Evaluation, Learning, TIB, and Admin of Digital Mill Hub. It's my great pleasure that all the emerging M&E professionals from national and international level have joined today. Thanks, everyone, to keep with us. Those who are new today, I would like to take opportunity to say something about Digital Mill Hub. Digital Mill Hub is a virtual open learning platform for solely M&E professional with the vision of connecting all the M&E professional worldwide under one umbrella and build a strong sustainable network to index professional knowledge so that we can share our knowledge, experience, documents, and opinion. Feel free to ask any your query here related to M&E. I am excited that near about 2,000 registered members from more than 110 countries are already connected here till today. Dear folks, we are struggling to play professional roles frequently. We want to help each other and learn more together. I am proud all of you who are helping by sharing your knowledge, experience, and throughout digital mill hubs, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, and Facebook. On the other hand, I am accumulating all the things by website, Google Drive, and YouTube channel as Knowledge Hub. There are three learning approach will be maintained through Digital Mill Hub. On first one, monthly free webinar. Second one, document sharing through social media platform, especially WhatsApp and website. And third one, inclusive training related to M&E. So keep connect with us at Digital Mill Hub via Facebook, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, YouTube, and website. We believe connection is most important for career growth. Today, 13th webinar on resilience monitoring using an RMS approach facilitated by Mr. Rakibul Hassan. It's a great day for us because we have Mr. Rakibul Hassan as a speaker. Currently, he is working as technical advisor for M&E system and adaptive management in CARE USA. Around more than 2,200 200 years, 20 years experience as mill professional. Already all of you know about him through recent my video content, advertisement, and other communication channel. Before we start, I would like to share some housekeeping rule for everyone. Your microphone is muted and you will get open discussion or feedback at the end of the session. The webinar is recorded. You will get similar record and PPT after the webinar. So keep question or suggestion at your mind. I am requesting to Rakibul Hassan Bhai to start your session. Over to you.
Thank you, Alamgir Bhai. So again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and overall good day. And it depends on where you are. So before I start my sessions, can you all hear me very loud and clear?
Yes, clear.
Okay, thank you. So please, I would request mute your speaker unless you are not talking, right? So this is very important. And probably thank you, Alamgir Bhai, for I would probably give a big thanks to Alamgir Bhai for creating this media, and that in terms of monitoring and there are not too many platforms in worldwide across, right? So definitely this is a flagship initiative that developed by Alamgir Bhai. And today what I will try to present some two main issues. One is resilience monitoring. This is very important, extremely important, because what we are doing monitoring and evaluation, and it is not that traditional M&E that started 30 years back, and it is still continuing. There are M&E is evolving, so that's why we need to really align all the changes that are taking place. So that's why we will be presenting the resilience monitoring. This is one part, and the second part is the remote monitoring approach. So the first presentation that so I see echo here. Okay, so the first presentation definitely that will be a kind of a bit long, but please try to be patient as much as you can, so that we can also discuss, and definitely as Alamgir mentioned, we can have our question answer end of that session. That will do. So let's start the resilience monitoring. How we can do the resilience monitoring, and you know that I will not coming up some of the theoretical issue here. Rather, I will try to explain from a very practical experience. And you know that the the Shohardo program, one of the USAID funded largest food security program, they have done this resilience monitoring, and based on that experience I'll be trying to present some of the resilience monitoring experience, and also some of the future program they can consider. And you know that already Alamgir mentioned that I earlier I led the many of the Shohardo. Eventually, I moved to the our Care USA, and now I am supporting many food security program that are related to resilience. So with this note, I can start my presentations. Let me share my screen. Can you all see the screen?
Yes, yes, clear.
Okay. So you see that the title here, right? So the title we are saying whether it is worth monitoring resilience, right? So this is the experience from Shohardo that we'll be talking today. Okay. So this is what we are trying. And also see that the initiative that we are talking about, that the defining and measuring resilience. So and we'll do it. Sorry. Okay. So okay. Yes. So what we're doing, so the initiative of the resilience monitoring was fostering learning and adaptation in the resilience building. And in my presentation, you all see repeatedly the flare B. This is the term that the fostering learning and adaptation in the resilience building. So this is the initiative. And in my presentation, you see that the content that I'm going to cover, it's an overview of the program, because it's really important to learn about the program. This is one thing. And also why we need to measure resilience. This is another content. And also the objective of that resilience measurement that I will also be covering. And the methodology, we used for the resilience measurement in the Shohardo program. And also the research area indicators, and some of the key findings we will also be sharing. Please mute yourself. Please mute yourself. Yes. And also from adaptation from the evidence-based learning, and also recommendation for the future project to measure resilience. So these are the content that I will be covering in today's presentations. So now the overview of the program that I already told. So the program, the Shohardo program, I already told, this is a USAID funded program, and altogether it is 102 million USD the funded program, and it was total 5 years initial program, and that 2 years initially extended, and also the key focus of the program is food security, and also nutrition and resilience. And already I told that the resilience measurement initiative that we talk about, this is the flare B. Again, I am talking the flare B means fostering learning adaptation in the resilience building, and also the flare B initiative that that measured the shock context, perception, shocks, and also capacity and outcome based on a recurrent panel study, right? So these are the kind of methodology that the Shohardo program adopted. So now you see that the why we need to measure resilience, because in our development program, ideally we are working for different with different objective, right? And also these are all overall, if you can see that the overall to improve or eradicate poverty or improve whatever you say, but the overall goal is that the development program is like that. But you see, this is a kind of, case study of a particular farmer of a, in Bangladesh, the North Tor region. And this farmer name is Mokbul. And you see that ups and downs of the Mokbul's life, right? So you see that in 2010, this farmer had, 1 acre of land and 2 cows in January 2010. And then in July, that farmer lost his, land through the, river erosion. And then in June, in January 10 to 12, so there was no flood, no erosion in that particular area. And then the farmers, was just, recovering from the that particular vulnerability. And then in July 12, that farmer, married his daughter. That daughter name is Moriam, and also he had to pay, a 30,000 BDT, Bangladeshi taka, for a dowry, and also and of gold amounting to 14,000. So this is a huge burden for that particular farmer. Then in 2013, that farmer joined in the Shohard 3 program and received the income generating activities training, and also received input support. And also in 2014 flood, that farmer again had a vulnerability, that the river was, for the river erosion, his homestead was damaged, and also the money lender that from where he took the loan just take back the money, and you see that the Mokbul become again vulnerable, and you see that again after that he was recovering from the vulnerability situations. So these are the kind of trajectory of a particular farmer, and also definitely this is this is not linear. You see, this is not the linear. So it is kind of impact of shocks is neither linear, not always visible to the outsider. That's why we are talking that we need to really measure individual households or whatever it is, resilience. Otherwise, the development intervention that we are planning, that we are designing, it will not work. The objective will not be work. So that's why we need to measure resilience, right? And you see that from the earlier case study, we need to see the 3 big category, right? 3 big category. One is a set of capacity. That's really important. We need to measure, and also the to see the how those capacity are realized in a relation to a disturbance. This is also important. We because otherwise we cannot see the changes of particular context, and also then how these the disturbance is affecting overall well-being outcomes and also trajectories. Because you see that from the earlier case, the earlier case, there are a lot of trouble, the river erosion, and also money lender, the praising to the particular farmer, the daughter's dowry, a lot of things is happening. That's why how these are different crises and shocks is affecting to the overall well-being is very important. And also even if we can simplify, so that is even more need to 3 different set of indicator. We need the indicator at the capacity level, we need the indicator at the shocks level, well-being outcome, and it's very critical that these are contextualized, because these are the not kind of things that will work across all countries, because different countries, every country has unique characteristics, and their challenge is different. So that's why we really need to contextualize those indicators. Otherwise, one size chart will not fit to all. That's very important. Okay. So we are talking about the resilience. So what does this really mean in the resilience? And if you really see, I know that the many of you very expert on the resilience, but it's very important whenever we are talking about the resilience, we concern about 3 different indices about the resilience. One is absorptive capacity, another is adaptive capacity, and another is transformative capacity. So this is very important. And also, the how this capacity are, working at the times of shocks. That's very important. So whenever we are talking about the absorptive capacity, that's related to, ability to minimize exposure to shocks and stress. You see that the why I'm saying, because that particular farmer Mokbul, he did not have the ability when he had river erosion, other vulnerability. So that's very important. So if we understand, if you want to understand the, ability, we need to understand the absorptive capacity. That's very important. And also the adaptive capacity. Whenever we are talking about the adaptive capacity, it's about making proactive and informed choice about the alternative livelihood strategies. So within the changing, conditions, because, the context that we are working, that is constantly changing. So it's not that the farming started and farming remained the same type of livelihood pattern in remaining the same type of, off-farm pattern will remain the same, because it's changing. So that's very important. The person or the farmers or the household that we're working, they have the ability to making proactive and informed choices. Otherwise, it will not work. So that's very important. And also the lastly, one of the critical things is, transformative capacity, but it's very, the whenever we are working with that, we have not that much direct relation of that transformative capacity, but it's very important because ultimately we need to see the changes at the system level. So that's very important. So that's why we need to see that the governance mechanism, policies, infrastructure, and also community network and different safety nets. So these are the kind of wider system that we really need to look around. So altogether, cutting short, so these three capacity we need to see: the absorptive capacity, adaptive capacity, and also transformative capacity. So that's very important. So one of the important thing is, in a traditional M&E approach, what we do, right? What we do, we develop a kind of logic model. We develop a kind of result framework that's started with the activities, output, intervention, whatever you say, and then we look for the intermediate outcomes. Then we look for the higher level outcomes. Then we look for the impact or results, whatever you say. Because don't get on the terminology, because it's very confusing across different donor requirement. But the logic is that. So these are the kind of traditional M&E that we usually used to dealing with. But whenever the project is will be integrate the resilience measurement process in the result framework, that project definitely need to consider the lower steps. So otherwise, so I'm not suggesting a project, they need to come up with different set of logical framework. Rather, within the single logic framework, they need to integrate resilience pieces in the result framework. And when they integrate, they need to see how activities outputs were designed, and how the resilience capacity is looking for the project, and also the households that project is working. What about the response shocks? Because we need to know shocks and crises. And if we do not, in our result framework or indicator summary or IPTT, whatever you say, if we do not have indicators that are unable to measure shocks or responses, that will not provide you a kind of actual context of the resilience pieces. So that's very important, and also how it is affecting overall well-being. So these are the kind of thing that we really need to consider when a project is initially designed. Designed because the project M&E in fact started from the project description. Then we go to the theory of change. Then we come up to the logical framework. Then we come up to the IPTT or indicator summary or performance monitoring plan. So, but in the process of defining the theory of change, so that's very important that we consider the resilience pieces in the theory of change, so that eventually we can also formulate the resilience pieces in our performance measurement process. So that this is very important. And I'm sorry, because I really support many of the USAID project, That's why, USAID terminology comes to the letter, but don't get it as a bias for me, because I used to, but the focus is like that. So this is the kind of things that we need to keep in our mind. And in that particular program, the Shohardo that implemented by Care Bangladesh, so they did a kind of cohort study, and cohort study that they designed for a recurring panel study, and they did it every after 6 months. So that 6 months they did, but this project is heavily resource based project, so may not be this type of resource is not uniform to other development project, but based on the resource and also requirement, we can also customize our M&E effort. That is very important. And because why they did that resilience measurement, because I say that some of the compelling case of a particular farmer or household say, if we do not see the resilience, it is not impacting. It is we are not adapting. We are not learning from our evidence. We are not adapting. That's very important. So that's why the project come up with a resilience approach. And that USAID, one of the bureau is the Bureau of Humanitarian Assistance, and that Bureau of Humanitarian Assistance, they funded the resilience food security activities. And these are the program that are huge resourceful program. They are operating Africa, Asia, Latin America, and particularly I supported a number of projects in Africa, and they are all resilience food security activities, but not necessarily they adopted the same model. They come up with different approach, but overall objective is to see the impact shocks and also outcome. That's very important. You see that I probably talk a lot about this, but again, I would like to emphasize the objective of particular player study. The project wanted to see the resilience capacity and how the households are mitigating shocks and stresses. This is one objective, and the second objective was to see the longitudinal effect of the program intervention, because we design our intervention, but unless we have a kind of what I would say impact evaluation, we simply cannot say the particular intervention is creating particular impact. But this provides a kind of sense that how the longitudinal effects of the program intervention, that is one of the interest of the program. And also so how that findings or learning can also help to the overall adaptive management of the program. And I told that the context that we are working is constantly changing, so we need to know what the evolving context and also new information. So if we are not learning, we are not changing. So we need to learn. We need to change our intervention so that it's remain relevant within the particular context that we are operating. And also this is the another objective I said, that also so is to provide some of the estimate of the resilience indicator. So the methodology that the particular program they come up with that they in the 680 sample, they consider 3 types of households. One households that involved with agriculture and on-farm IGA. So these are the one cohort of that overall sample. Another household is household having pregnant and lactating women, because their vulnerability is different, very different. So this is also one thing that the project wanted to see, the vulnerability within the particular cohort that have the pregnant and lactating women, and also other program as well, other type of household as well. And with the following a 2-stage cluster sampling, they did they selected 40 sample villages, and these 40 sample villages, they come up with a kind of simple random sampling. They come up with the 680 households that were monitored over 2.5 years within 6-month interval. So this is one thing. And also I told that the total five round study was done for that panel study, and also they follow the simple random sampling that I told. So there are many experts here, and I should not raise another complex discussion about the sampling, because it's entirely depend on your objective. That's very important, right? So, but this particular project, why they did consider the two-stage cluster sampling, because the setting that the project was working, it's quite wide, right? And also they work directly around 170,000 households within the 400 950 villages. So this is the huge working area. That's why they come up with the two-stage cluster sampling. And also the villages were selected, using the PPS method. And many of you know about that this is a kind of probability proportionate to size. And in the PPS, there are that's usually the larger village have a higher probability to select to be included in the size of the sample. So that's the kind of PPS, right? And also the due to cluster sampling design. So the sample size. The design effect also considering other aspect of that particular study. So you see that the area of inquiry, right? So what the project decided in which area, because resilience or absorptive, adaptive, or transformative, these are the kind of wide things. So in order to understand particular capacity, they come up with 7 research area, right? 7 research area with 30 indicators. I'm not saying that whenever you are designing, you come up with 30 indicators. It's again based on your resource, based on your requirement, based on your practicality. You need to come up, because there are many things I'll discuss later. But this I'm talking about from a project that followed that model, right? So this is very important, because I don't want to talk very theoretically, because it will not provide any sense. I can share many things from the theory, but whenever you come up, when you design and you integrate your resilience in your M&E system, you need some practical references. That's why it's very important. And within that particular 7 research area, this program one fixed the agriculture and livestock area. Another is maternal child health and nutrition, then hygiene practices, and also income savings and access to credit, and also access to government services, shock, stress, and resilience, and women economic empowerment and decision making. So these are the kind of 7 area, and you see that within the bracket, there are a number of indicators they considered. So I am not going to discuss all the indicators. It will a kind of heavy discussion. Rather, you just consider the areas that particular project considered. And you see that's very important. That's very important. So the M&E expert or M&E lead or M&E whatever the M&E capacity you are working, we need to consider 3 pieces of that particular resilience based on the absorptive, adaptive, and also transformative. Because whenever we are considering the absorptive, we need to see that the humanitarian assistance, social capital, asset ownership, informal safety net, and cash savings. So and also disaster preparedness. And adaptive, social capital, exposure to or use of information, livelihood, diversity, asset ownership, access to credit, human capital. So, and also for the transformative, the project, they used indicator around local government and responsive system, social capital, availability of basic service, and formal safety nets, collective actions, social cohesion, and gender norms. And the important things, within that particular 3 capacity, there are many overlap. There are many overlap because in the end of my study, I suggested some of the kind of resource material. Whenever you will go through, you see that particular overlap and how it is interlinked. So these are very interesting. And I request, let's not do the M&E kind of traditional M&E. Let's be dynamic. Let's involve. Let's keep consider our evolving context. That's very important. And here is the kind of summary of the resilience indicator, that particular Chouhardo project they used for the exposure to shocks and impact, shocks preparedness and response capacity, shocks recovery and ability to recover from future shocks, absorptive and adaptive capacity, and social capital, and household hunger and coping strategy. And you see that at the initial time, I discussed the well-being level or impact level, and impact level for to see the resilience. That program, they define some of the indicator, that is income, household food insecurity access scale, or food security insecurity access scale, whatever you say, highest or FIAS, and also the household dietary diversity. These are the kind of four impact upper level indicator they also see. And that's this is the timeline of the program. At different stages, and you should not know that detail of that timeline, because I kept here to see the magnitude of the program. So that's I would say I think many of you know that about Chouhardo, right? So it is a kind of flagship program of care, and it's from the USAID, from the USAID funding. It was around 17 or 18 years on 3 different pages. So that's why I wanted to keep the timeline of that particular program implementation, so you can see really the different stages. And you probably know that, I'm not sure, in probably development development area, this program now they are implementing a 2 years phase, which is around sustainability. So this is a kind of another kind of very interesting things about the sustainability, and they are doing that phase right now, 2 years, and definitely in future we will try to share some of the issue from the experience of that sustainability implementation project. And that whenever we are saying sustainability, it's very general term, right? So that particular program that focuses on the local service provisioning, the sustainability of the local service provisioning. And for that, they are doing they develop some of the local service provider, and they are capacitating them, and they are working with the sustainability initiative. And altogether, I'm telling that it's very interesting and exciting things. We can talk later about that sustainability. So you see that the key findings. I should not discuss that much of the key findings, but we need to know what are the type of things that particular resilience measurement study they can provide. So you see that one of the key findings from the group participation, because that project worked many community level group. So the findings of that particular study, they come up that majority of the household engaged with 2 or 3 project promoted community groups. So it has a kind of very regressional study. There is a kind of regressional study that the household with more group, they had more effective layering of diversified livelihood support. So these are the very kind of findings they come up with that particular study. This is one thing. And also adoption of improved livelihood practices, substantial increase in adoption of project promoted livelihood practices and behaviors, and adoption of the 3 practices and behaviors increase the income, improve nutrition, and enhance resilience capacity. They had a test, that particular post, they through a certain test, they come up with the findings that adoption of improved practices that lead to the income, that lead to the nutrition practices and also enhance resilience capacity. So these are the kind of key findings that project come up. And you see that the graphs are like I say that it's a kind of campfire, right? It's kind of campfire, and you can see the graphs from the sky, right? So you can see, so, and you see that from the two graphs, the household hunger scale, right? The first one is household hunger scale, and second one is the household diet diversity. So how within the 5 round, there is a kind of ups and downs within the hunger scale, and started from round 1 and end up in the round 5. And you see that they consider 3 type of sample, and they also see that the diversity within the sample cohort, right? And also you see that the PLW women, they have different set of vulnerabilities, and they have different set of impact within the household. And also you see that the kind of household diversity, there are 6 or more food groups, right? That they are also seeing the how dietary diversity increased over the time. So this is also important. So so they also monitor from the survey study the how household diet diversity increased or decreased over the period. So from the livelihoods, they come up with the kind of findings that the agriculture and livelihood practices provide only a small proportion of total household income. So, and also non-agri and off-farm activity found to be appropriate given the large share of the income from alternative livelihood activities. This is another kind of finding. And also this result increased income when the households utilize practices the projects are promoting. This is also another set of findings. So this is from the livelihoods area, and from the MCHN, maternal child health and nutrition practices. So the maternal child health practices show improvement over the 5 rounds, and also hand-washing practices, use of improved sanitation facility were found with steady increase, and also diarrhea prevalence among children under 5 declining intensely. So this is also kind of another kind of findings. And you see that the income level, how income had went over the 5 rounds period. So this is the kind of income that from the 5 round, and starting with the very low level, that project come up with some acceptable level of income. That's also very important. So for the resilience capacity, the projects come up with that the adaptive, absorptive, and also transformative resilience capacity have increased over the period. That come up from every of all 5 rounds result. And also the second, the increase indicates that overall the respondent are now better able to adapt future shocks and also stresses. So this data from this capacity that provides that they can adapt more to future shocks and also stresses. And a higher level of project participation are found to be associated with a higher level of informal safety net. So this is also very important. And higher savings and shocks preparedness are exposure to the information. And some of the unexpected changes they also see from that particular study of unexpected changes. The number of utilized overall improved livelihood practices negatively associated with the transformative capacities linking social capital. So these are the kind of tests that they have done, but this found some of the unexpected change that was not intended. And you see that this is another kind of very critical findings that the study come up with. From that study they saw that the household, the women within the household, those households have better decision making capacity. Within the women, they have higher resilience capacity. So this is extremely important. So because we are talking about resilience, but we see that there is a very strong linkage of resilience of women decision making capacity. So if we really want to improve resilience capacity, that's we need to look around the women status or women status within the households. We need to see their mobility. We need to see their decision making. We need to see their empowerment. So all these lead to the women empowerment, their better decision making ability. So if this is this happens, that will also contribute to the resilience, measurements capacity. So this is another kind of findings they come up. And some of the regression analysis they have done that I already told. So these kind of regression they come up with that the improve COVID practices, improve livestock practices, and livelihood diversification all positively associated with the per capita income. So these are the all the improved practices, improved livestock practices, livelihood diversification, all are positively associated with the income. This is one critical findings. And also, women group participation is positively associated with the household decision and also income. This is also another kind of findings. And also, the resilience capacity, the regression analysis also shows that group membership is associated with a higher level of the resilience capacity. So higher level of women decision making are associated with a higher level of both absorptive and adaptive capacity. So these are the, I should not talk much about that because, these are the very, complex type of things. And definitely it will take more time to discuss and also, detailing out. So this is important. So from that study, how the data was used. So the program, because the program, one of the objective was they will use the data for the program adaptation. And for that adaptation, they adjusted several intervention, and also household health and nutrition area, disaster risk reduction area, women empowerment. So they adjusted different intervention. And for the many of you know that the farmer field business school, this is a kind of approach or training that we used for producer group, and based on that study findings, they redesigned that intervention. So that's the powerfulness of the M&E, because if your M&E do not promote kind of management actions for informed decision, it will not work. So that's one of the important things. And also during the COVID area, they said that they saw that the access to capital is critically important. That's why they come up with that in that particular area. So access to capital, the program need to support. So that also it will also help the upskilling and also reskilling of the participants. So this is another adaptation they made. And also, as I told, that this program now implementing 2 years of the sustainability, and for the designing of that sustainability phase, they use many of the findings that from the resilience measurement study. So, and I said that this is the, whenever we are saying that development intervention needs to be sustainable. This is very, very vague term, right? Very, very general term. So what we need to sustainability in the outcome. We need to have sustainability in the process. So that's very important, because the discussion around sustainability that went up much higher level. Now the experts are looking for the motivation level of the participants, the capacity level, the network level, their linkage level. So these are the kind of things that we need to look around. Otherwise, our sustainable model will not be working. So this is very important. So the care Sohardo Plus, they are implementing 2 years sustainability project started from 23. They will end up on 24. So I think from that particular model, many countries they are looking through a microscope with that particular project, what is happening over there. And from the learning of that particular project, they definitely will adapt many of their sustainability intervention. So this is another thing. And also I said that they reviewed their theory of change for the sustainability phase using that data. And from some of the challenges they had, and so I had a call. The challenge they had so many challenges. So I want to note some of the critical challenges the program had. So the income expenditure. This is the data collection is very time intensive. And also, that took many time, and also during the COVID time, so it was not that much easy, right? So that's why they also use the to collect income data, the kind of perceived income, right? That definitely perceived income. So they use that some of the approach. And also you see that as I mentioned, this is not a content of quantitative study. Some qualitative study also embedded in the process, and they had some challenges to interpret some of the findings of the coping strategy, and also other things. So to interpret those coping strategy, so then they had to use some of the qualitative findings. So that's why the later, initially the quantitative, qualitative, process was not embedded, but later they adopted that approach to interpret some of the things. And also, that another challenge, it's for the challenge for the panel study, because this program, they did the panel study, same cohort of households monitored over the time. So that project worked through the partner, and they had, they know the beneficiary, they know the households, right? So that's why kind of there might be a kind of implementation bias. So this is very important if you are planned for a kind of panel study. But if you plan for the cross-sectional study, that's different. That's different thing. So this is the kind of challenge that program had. So so now definitely you have started thinking your how you can really integrate resilience in your M&E system. So now I can suggest two model. This is not my suggestion. This is one of the suggestion you probably know. You probably know the Tango International, right? So Tango, they there is one of guru from the Tango, resilience guru. The Tim Frankenberger, he's the resilience guru, and that Tango helped that Chouhardo to develop that process. So, and that Tim Frankenberger, he proposed two type of model can be adopted from that experience. So one could be lighter model, another be the heavy model. So lighter model, you can consider some of the indicators around women empowerment, access to informal safety nets, asset ownership, malnutrition, household food security, livelihood diversification. So you can consider some of the potential indicator, and you can include those in your result measurement process, in your M&E plan, in your log frame, or in your result tracking system, or IPTT, whatever you say, you can include. So when the lighter model is appropriate, so because only the bare minimum level of information is required to measure most aspect of resilience, because some of the project that the focus is not that much resilience. Based on that, and again I said that based on your resource, M&E staffing, your effort, you can design how many indicator you really can plan. So considering your overall objective, this is one thing. And also can be supplement with measures from the fuller model according to the context. This is a kind of, for the lighter model you can consider, and those who are very heavy project in terms of I told that the USA, they are funding some of the resilience food security activities. So they are heavy project, so they have heavy focus on the resilience. So they should come up some of the more indicator. And that's one of our program in Malawi. In Malawi, you probably heard that Titukulane, the name of the Titukulane program. So they are also a kind of resilience food security activities funded by USAID, and that Titukulane program, they did another good piece of things. So they made a collaboration with the Catholic Relief services. The CRS. So that CRS, they develop another kind of mechanism. It's called that the rapid feedback monitoring system. So that CRS, that's in the Malawi country, they are working on that. And our program, that Titukulane, they also involved with that collaboration. So we are also seeing from many things that will come up from that particular, because We are talking now, full model, light model, whatever the things, but we need to see from other initiative, because overall, you need to consider the same, indicator or indices that will provide you some contextual information or shocks or outcome level information to, on your resilience. So it depends on, the approach that you will follow. It depends on you, but overall objective is, you need to have some of the information. And here and also, I mentioned that programs are generally larger, more complex with significant budget, so they can consider the fuller model. And here the indicator of the because the whole indicator of the lighter model, additionally they can add this one. So if your project is really heavy with the resilience measurement process. So that's one of the things, so these are the kind of consideration that from because I was extensively engaged with that process, and I also learned many things. And this is not the learning that I learned on alone. We learn through a group, through a process, right? And from the learning, we are suggesting some of the consideration that really future project can be considered whenever you design your resilience measurement process. So you can consider primary or secondary data very different and meaningful perspective, best to include both, right? So it's very important. You can consider your secondary data. So this provide meaningful perspective. And objective and subjective measures, very different and meaningful perspective, best to include both. So we suggest you consider it be objective or subjective. These are very important. So you see that the timing and frequency very so that should be kind of recurrent, right? Whenever we are saying about the resilience, we need to see the recurrent, because if the findings is not the timely enough, so we'll probably not be able to fine tune our development intervention. So this is very important, right? So otherwise we will not useful doing that. And also scale must be the appropriate level to the capture resilience dynamics and inform management. So scale we need to consider, because the methodology or experience I shared, it's a very larger scale. So you should not go with that exercise. You will design based on your context, based on your reality. So it's very important. And as I said, that this project was used to the panel study and the longitudinal cohort study. But you can do cross-sectional, because our program in Zimbabwe, probably you were from Zimbabwe, that there is a kind of another food security program that is named the Takunda, right? Takunda. So they are doing kind of the cross-sectional approach. So they are also, because we are really excited to see all the different countries, all the different projects, how they are really designing this and you said that the M&E is heavily evolving. So we really need to see some of the contextual changes, and if we cannot incorporate those contexts in our system, so I don't think that we'll be able to help our program for the improved programming. So that's very important. So, so you see that the picture says everything. So there is a track, and it is very overloaded, right? So we should not want to be overloaded. We don't want you to be overloaded. So the important is we need to right size. If you cannot right size, it will not work. So and you said the majority concern with any result framework is the number of indicators. And therefore, so it also have a burden of the data collection of the project staff and beneficiary. So considering your staff and beneficiary, you need to design your your kind of how many indicators you will come up. There is no approach that okay, you need to consider this. based on reality, you will come up with your indicators. That's very important. So it takes time, money, and significant effort to collect and analyze data. So that's why it's imperative that we write such our M&E reports. So to add additional burden, because I spend my full of career in the M&E, and I know that the challenges of the M&E for the reporting requirement, and there are two type of challenges. So whenever you present a good findings, so audience will say, oh, your findings is not validated. So it's not, no data quality assessments were done. We need to check up, we need to really see, we need to validate. This is a kind of one audience. Another audience, whenever you present the bad status, then the audience will come up, okay, a lot of good things happening in the program, but you guys from the M&E, you cannot track, you cannot measure. So there are two type of audience we need to deal with in the M&E. So that's why we need to really be careful what we are doing and how we really advocating or influencing the program management. That's very important, right? So if we really cannot right size, so we will not be able to promote a very meaningful M&E. So there are many resources. I just suggest some of the key resources here from my understanding. So you can consider these resources if you really interested about resilience, how they come up with system, process, procedure, why it is important. So there are the resources you can see. So this is end of my first part of the presentations. So I sincerely apologize. So probably it was very long and tedious presentations, but I would suggest please keep patience for another few minutes. I will have another presentation on that, because Alamgir was requesting how we can really share some of the experience for the remote monitoring, right? And the remote monitoring, that it's very important, because we see that during COVID context, how important it was, right? How important it was. So that's why we saw. So this is the third part of presentation. So definitely you have many questions. We will try to respond all the questions after that presentations. But till then, please please keep patience so that we can end up with the second presentations. Sorry. Can you all see my second the slides?
Yes, right. Carry on.
Thank you. Okay, so these are the kind of
yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So this is the kind of second presentation. So remote monitoring, and this is entirely developed from the USAID guidance, and there is a specific guidance for the remote monitoring. And you can see I just adapted from the presentation from the USAID guidance. So how we can really design the remote monitoring, and that definitely COVID was there. Probably in the future we will not have COVID, but other type of contextual thing we might face. We need to do remote monitoring. So this will also help, I think. So this is the background. The USAID, they operate in almost 80 countries, and in the COVID time they had many challenges. And also these disrupted operations also does not hinder the USAID commitment to safety and accountability. And this remote monitoring also help, different USAID program to continue monitoring and evaluation efforts. And why the guideline was developed, that's to object, to provide information on the remote monitoring. This is one thing. And also encourage the identification and pursuit of appropriate remote monitoring approaches, and also health and safety of the staff while ensuring the accountability of the use of funds. Because we development project, we have many things in the field, right? We need to see the context where we could not make our field connection. So that's very important. We are in touch with the reality, so that we can also have that accountability or the safety. So the many of you know that there are two type of performance remote monitoring. One is performance monitoring, another is context monitoring. So for performance monitoring, that's many of you know, because it's related to our indicator that usually in our result framework or log frame, and we need to monitor those performance indicator. So this is one thing, and also context monitoring. So context specific data. So this is essential. So, and also because this is not kind of COVID. If you have particular context, if there is any kind of political instability, so you need to also monitor the context, right? So that's why we need to know about the context monitoring. So using monitoring approach, we will have two type of monitoring: the performance monitoring and also context monitoring. That's very important, right? So before you go with the remote monitoring approach, you need to consider something. So you need to review your M&E monitoring and evaluation plan. So because the review is not that you review everything. So you need to assess how data was collected before COVID, and what data we need to collect during any emergency or crisis period like COVID. This is very important. It is your background review. And also you need to identify gaps, the performance and the context, because if your program providing resource to the beneficiary, so if you are transferring funds through mobile, cash money, or other type of cash transfer or other kind of resource, so you need to know that the yes beneficiary, they are receiving the they're receiving the resource that particular project is providing. So that's why you need to know that the what are the gaps over there, so that you can identify, right? And also address demographics and connectivity, right? So this is so you need to consider the gender, age, literacy, and also connectivity level, right? And one thing very important that's remote monitoring is mainly technological based. I'm sure many of you have much more idea if you do it in other medium, but this guideline is suggest mostly technology, right? So this is one thing you need to keep in mind. So some tools they are suggesting for the remote monitoring. You can do mobile data collection. This is one thing. Within the mobile data collection, you can design SMS survey or IVR survey, right? The iterative voice. So you can design. So I can give an example of the SMS monitoring. In one of our program, when there is a kind of planned cash transfer, before that we sent message to SMS message to every beneficiary, every registered beneficiary, that they need to receive the cash from they will be provided the cash on that date. These are the kind of information that we did provide. So these are the kind of way that we can include in the mobile data collection. Another approach maybe internet-enabled mobile solution, web-based service. We can design also two-way messaging apps. We can also design for that one, and also remote sensing. I don't know actually. It's again depend on the. I saw that in some of our Fit the Future program here. They also do the remote sensing, right? So they collect many of the programs, they collect geospatial data from and also they include the satellite image, right? So from that, because if you want to see you need to have any image on the infrastructure, habitat, or agricultural lands. You can do the remote sensing, right? And also for the better management for the geospatial data, so that you can. And in most of our many program now that the geospatial data is almost a common thing. So we need lat long data, otherwise we cannot see many things we're missing. And you know better from me because you are the expert, you are the master all of here, so you know better, right? So the factors influencing the tool selections, there are connectivity and accessibility, and also consider your mobile phone ownership, because if you are planned for the monitoring your beneficiary through mobile survey, so please check whether they own the mobile. And also very important, if you're working with the women beneficiary, whether the particular women have the access to mobile. That's very important, right? So otherwise the particular female will not have access to see the all the communication in the mobile. So that's very important. So we need to see connectivity and also accessibility, and also choose appropriate tools. Whatever the tools I say, the SMS survey, IVR, mobile apps, web survey, whatever you see, you can. Demographics, literacy, also literacy, it's a kind of thing, because the person we work, definitely there are, in terms of literacy, there are not good conditions. So so we need to see their level of language preferences, and also so different thing, because the literacy is very important. So otherwise maybe it can be SMS based, maybe it can be voice based on that. So we need to see. And also type of data to be collected. So what type of data we need to collect? So match tools, so quantitative or qualitative. So phone surveys or because, so this is very important, because one of the experience that I can share, so in probably in which country? Yes, in Bangladesh, right? Probably we had an experience that when we from the mobile, we called to the our participant or beneficiary, the phone switched off, right? So phone switched off. So it a kind of issue that we could not respond very initially. Later, from the many discussion, it came out that in the rural households they have electricity issue, right? So usually what they do, whenever they make any call, they get switched on they on the mobile, they make call, and then again switched off, because the charge do not get drainage, and because they don't have electricity constantly. So these are the kind of challenges, really you need to see. Otherwise, your remote monitoring approach will not be context appropriate. So you need to consider those things. And also phone survey or other survey, you can also think based on there. And also there are other factors that influence the tool selection, existing communication system. So you should adapt the existing communication, and also you can leverage the SMS or voice calls, and also geospatial data requirements, evaluate the need of the geospatial data, and also activity locations. So, and also security and privacy. So one thing. This is very critical. So so that there are, for particular USAID, they have different protocol for the raw data, for the final data, data sharing protocol they have. And recently, another things that is coming around, the responsible data, right? Probably you heard, many of you, that responsible data. So this is kind of things that going to strengthen one of our programming, for the responsible data. And definitely in the future, I can share some of the guidelines related to the responsible data, based on, because I'm not that much because I need to frequently travel all many places, and also if type permit, I will probably in consultation with Alamgir, I will design a one session about the responsible data, right? So this is one of the things. And also prioritize tool and ensure data security that protect the privacy and beneficiary. So we need to and also informed consent procedure. So that, and also I'm not sure the informed consent protocols that usually that is embedded in the survey, but in your ongoing routine monitoring, how you apply your informed consent, that's probably one of the questions that we really need to know, because that's have a many implication. That's what we need to know, right? Okay, so that's important. And the adapting a monitoring approach, you consider adapting existing communication system for monitoring, because you cannot develop something very different in the overnight. You cannot simply come up in the very fine morning with a new approach. So you need to start on your existing system, and you can modify, you can enhance. So this is very important. And also you need to leverage existing institutional monitoring system and third-party data. There are many, you all know that the third-party monitoring become now one of the prominent, and probably different donor are now right now they are preferring the third-party monitoring. That's less cost effective. Sorry, this is cost effective, less burden, and also data, in terms of what I would say, the data quality, the third-party monitoring data is more better, right? So, and also we need to train the key informants in the remote areas if direct beneficiary contact is challenging, because there are two types. If you are directly taking data from your beneficiary, this is one type. And if your mobile, beneficiary do not have more mobile, so then you might have a kind of volunteer within the same village or community. That volunteer might have a kind of maybe a smartphone or whatever. So if you want to do a kind of focus group discussion, so you need to train those volunteers how to operate those things within the particular community. So this is very important, the training, right? So you see that the key consideration: privacy, security, safeguarding data, and updating information concerning mitigating bias. So addressing biases introduced by remote monitoring methods, partnership and collaboration, and also for different partners, missions at different level. So these are the kind of key considerations that we need to see while we design for the remote monitoring. So in a conclusion, I should say, so there are four different stages: adapt and employ, the first stage. So you see the guideline. So the guideline I refer, you see the guideline. You will find very many precise things in that. You need to use the guide, adapt and employ appropriate remote monitoring approach based on your context, based on your reality. You need to adapt, right? And also upload activity meal plan. It's other things, because they suggest whenever you are coming up with many because there's some certain procedure, right? So we need to submit many things in the development data library, development exchange clearing house. So different things, we need to submit. So whenever you develop something, you upload those, because these are all there are some these are the intellectual property rights. So you need to really maintain some of the protocol over there, and also embrace continuous adaptation and innovations. So because that's so I really suggest, let's be innovative, let's be diversity, embrace our innovations. So the M&E that has started 30 years back, the same M&E is not there, because that now the procedure, right? So in the when we design a kind of program, lot of M&E requirement, and we know many of the program, if the program have a the certain resources, they provide, in the RFA, they say that for the M&E they need to budget at 5% or 10% of the resources based on the nature of the bureau or department, right? Based on the nature. But you see that how important is M&E. So they are they are giving high importance. And that the recent trend that the many project leadership, many program leadership, many they are coming from the M&E background. So that's very important, right? So what I'm saying, that the M&E is evolving, and we need to really be innovative in doing our M&E. So we one thing we need to learn, we need to adapt, and we need to improve. So that's very important. And also future stay informed about the additional resources that so I think I'm stopped there. I'm almost done with my presentation, and I'm really sorry for the long presentations. So, but otherwise I did not have any choices. And you know that the M&E is more technical, right? So, and there are really no shortcut way to presenting things. And whenever we are considering some of the recent development in the M&E, like resilience or sustainability, so we need to discuss many things. So I really thanks to Alamgir Bhai for developing this platform. That's really will help our development, some of the there are many things coming up, right? So many development, many practices we really can see. So with this note, I will be stopped there. So I will try to respond to your questions. I did not see the chat boxes. Probably maybe there are questions, but it's better if you have specific questions, you read aloud once again so that I can respond, or Alamgir, you can also help. So with this note, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rakibul Bhai, for your valuable time from your busy schedule. And there are near about 100 participants here, and there are lots of experts here. Still 72 participants waiting for open discussion session. I hope some people will participate about the resilience monitoring and remote monitoring. So open now, the session is floor of open for all. So you can question on by one or raise your hand. I accumulate the question and answer to Rakibul Bhai, and any person can answer or share your thought. So I can check chat box. Wonderful presentation. Or you can raise your hand on by one. I checking in chat box. Question. On question from Ernest, which technique can be used to measure the resiliency? Rakul Bhai. On question from Ernest.
Thank you, Ernest, for your great questions. Definitely, as I mentioned, so you can apply two approach, but probably I would suggest you better first, you based on your project requirement, you can identify some resilience indicator. So this indicator you can add your result log frame or resilient results framework you can add. And whenever if you do any annual survey or 6 monthly survey, based on your project M&E data collection schedule, if you do annual survey, so you collect data during that time. Probably because you need to do an annual survey or other type of survey. Otherwise, because now donors are more interested about the outcome or something like impact. So with that indicator, you can also include some of the resilience indicator, so that you can also see that the changes within the resilience indicator. This is one thing, and also if you have very limited resources in terms of staffing, so you can also do some of the qualitative review even within the farmers level, within the mothers level. You can do some of the qualitative discussion, focus group discussion within the resilience area. So it will not be it may not be representative or larger at a scale. Still, you will get a kind of sense that within the say if your project working in 200 villages or 200 community, so you can do focus group discussion even 10 villages, and you select those villages systematically for the focus group discussion, right? And you have different audience, maybe farmers, mothers, and other adolescent. Based on your project requirement, you can conduct different focus group discussion, and that discussion you can also have some of the area. It's a kind of qualitative method that I'm talking about. If your project do not do any annual survey or big level survey, I hope I made it clear. If you have still any other questions, I can respond. Thank you.
Okay. Any question? Or you can share your knowledge or experience, anyone.
Box. Alok, should I go there?
Yeah. No question.
So, another the Maisara wrote in the chat box how we can get the list of the all those indicators. So Maisara from DRC Regional Mill Advisor, Senior Mill Advisor. Okay, so Maisara, thank you for your for your interest in the presentation. We have some indicators, but full set of indicator I can share with Alamgir. Alamgir will share those in our WhatsApp platform or Facebook group wherever it is appropriate, so we can share those indicators.
Also,
So
I will send by mail.
Oh,
So,
sure, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
Another. I see that the
Another question, could you please provide any ongoing project names which are practicing remote monitoring fully from we can get practical knowledge? Have any project?
So from my best of idea, I don't have any information that currently that project is fully remote monitoring using them, because there are many demerits of the remote monitoring, because if you have option, you can do the physical monitoring, but I don't have any information that currently doing the remote monitoring. So if I have, I will share, but I don't have any knowledge. Maybe within this group, my other might have information, but I don't have any information regarding that.
Thank you, Harunur Rashid Bhai, for your question. Another question, AKM Monirullah, how can I measure resilience indicator shortly?
Okay, thank you for your questions. Probably I responded it earlier somehow. So you can if you do not do, if you go for a kind of very you want to do it shortly, so you just select few key indicators, and those key indicator you include your indicator list, your performance indicator list, and based on the indicator nature, you collect data on the resilience. This can be one of the way. Thank you.
Still no question, right? In chat box. Tushar Kanti Shah, how can we assess the climate resiliency?
That's very important, very critical questions, and so I may not respond very appropriately, but still from my knowledge I can see that whenever you are saying the climate resiliency, so this is one, if your objective. So if you are implementing an agriculture project, probably you need to see that whether your farmers, they are using the climate smart agriculture. This is one thing. So whenever we are saying the climate smart agriculture, so it's again kind of very vague term, very general term, right? So maybe we can see the whether farmers, they are using a kind of rice variety that can be harvested, the early variety. This is the early that can be harvested early. So that the rice has a particular timeline. So it has involved timing. So if you want to reduce your shocks, so because in the Haur area, Bangladesh, I can also give an example of the Haur area. In the Haur area, there are one type of crops every year. One type of crops they produce, and usually every 1 or 2 years after, they have early flash flood, right? And this is a huge flash flood. And the within the farmers, if they get 10 to 12 days, they can harvest their crops, right? But the flash flood, at least when it started, so this is very, very, very devastating. It damages all the crops. So that's why they come up with some of the variety that can be, harvested earlier. So which also reduce their, shocks. So this is one way that we can see. And also, I'm not sure whether I saw Hindol here. I don't know whether Hindol is still there. So some of the technology, agriculture technology that is specific to climate specific, right? So you need to also promote those technology. If you are a trained farmer, you can also promote those technology. So this is how we can measure. So I hope I responded to your questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Another question from Sajjad. Is this possible to apply RMS approach without baseline in midst of the project or the end of the project?
So can you go the questions once back? I just miss you.
Yeah. Is this possible to use? Sorry, another question here. I repeat this. Is this possible to apply RMS approach without baseline in midst of the project or end of the project?
Okay, so that's again a kind of very critical question. Sorry. So if you do not have a baseline, it's difficult to measure the progress or deterioration over the period, right? So it's a kind of challenges. So what you can do, so if you plan mid-time, you can plan, but that time you need to collect some of the, either there are two options. Either you can collect some data retrospectively from the same beneficiary, because or the situation before, retrospectively you can collect some of the data. This is one way. Or you can you can go you can consider some of the secondary data, right? So based on that, you can see, because always why we need baseline, because we need a benchmark, we need a startup, right? So to see the changes over the period, you need to have a kind of startup, right? So then the two way you can collect data, but you need in any way you need to have the some of the startup context. Thank you.
Okay, another question from Mozammel Haq. Is possible to use machine learning or artificial intelligence in climate change or climate?
So thank you. So definitely, I'm not sure that you know bit better than me, right? So artificial intelligence, they are now preparing the terms of reference. And you saw that probably our last, the earlier session was the how to prepare a better TOR, right? Terms of reference. So if you write your the say Chat GPT, right? If you write your particular objective, so the Chat GPT will provide a kind of very very standard TOR. Then you can customize. So this is the kind of strength of that particular. I'm also worried, some of the many things that is coming out. So we develop a survey, right? We do survey. So we survey, but again, if you want to have the earlier practice was we do draft some of the questionnaire. Now you can start from the Chat GPT. They can provide any survey questionnaire at the starting level. So definitely, to respond to your question, might be there are a way, but we need to learn. Thank you.
Okay, there was last question so far. No question now. So we can close. Rakul Bhai, you can speak a last word from the for participant, and then we can close today's session, because we started at another one.
Hello. Yes.
Yes.
This is Eva. Yes, this is Everson Julius Mulinda from Uganda.
Okay.
There is a question that is still pending from Hassan, who wanted to get the difference between the resilience indicators and the normal programmatic indicators.
Oh, sorry, that
Thank you.
I'm missing. Rakul bhai, last question maybe. Please answer.
Yeah, thank you. So that's a very great questions. I would say the great questions. So definitely, so you know that some of the indicator that we used earlier, and also definitely we developed the recently many indicator. All those are all those are performance indicator, and performance level indicator are definitely there are different level outcome impact different level. But whenever you are talking about the resilience indicator, so you need to see that the three capacity I told that the absorptive, adaptive, and also transformative. So which indicator will give you the measure of the absorptive, adaptive, and also transformative, right? So definitely there are some certain indicator that develop particular for resilience. There are also some indicators. There are process indicator or outcome indicator. There are kind of for the mixed with the resilience indicator. So I think this is a kind of complex things, but I would suggest you please review those resources. So you will see the distinction of over there. Thank you.
Okay, so we can close. Rakul bhai.
Yeah, thank you. So
Okay, you can talk a last word for participant, and we can close the session today. Okay.
So thank you all the participants. I really I sincerely acknowledge your enthusiasm, even in the weekend, right? In the weekend. So you are spending your time. So that's to me something very important, because you care about your capacity development, about your M&E, and that's why you are interested to share your experience, to learn experience from others. So there are many countries I see that and really I'm really glad, and also I really feeling very very impressive that many countries there are time differences. People will come despite of their personal priority. So it's indicate that definitely you are a kind of very good learner. I really appreciate your gesture, posture, and your effort on that. And I would request, please keep continue that one, because this is a kind of platform, the digital MEL hub. And again, I go to the Alamgir Bhai, his Nobel initiative. So this platform also provide many opportunities to share our experience, to learn our experience. So it's a kind of what are the resources that the legacy of the M&E that will left behind. So many people will come, many session will become. There are many platform will be developed, but please keep interacting with that platform. And I see that in the WhatsApp group daily many things that are discussed. I could not follow. Sorry that some of the things that I could not follow, but really those are very important. And then I found some of the solution from there. So that's very important. So we keep engaged in that group and we interact. So we really the kudos to you all for your sincere interest, and definitely we'll be seeing. And I told that I have another interest to share some of the sustainability presentations in the future, definitely based on my schedule and also Alamgir by priority. And definitely I will come up once again. I will also keep interacting with that group. And Alamgir Bhai, I have no words to say your leadership on coordinating M&E priority need within different countries. So I would say you are simply superb. With this note, I'll stop there. Thank you, Alamgir Bhai.
Thank you very much, Rakul bhai, for your time. New things are coming, so we will learn. We will have learn continue. So good night today. Good morning from another country. Good evening, everyone. So keep patient and keep with us. We will learn together from our field expert. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day.